What is going on, everybody? Welcome in. It's Alarm Fantasy.
I wonder where the music is. I was like, what the heck's going on, dog?
What is up, everyone? Welcome in. Thanks for joining us here at Alarm Fantasy Football. I'm Howard Bender. With me, Andrew Cooper. I gotta get the lighting in the shed fixed. Now I've got like a little Smurf tone to me here. I feel like I got some like fluorescent blue going on.
The other day you looked like glowing Mr. Burns on The Simpsons. And today you look like the Crypt Keeper, dude. I might even have to go back to growing Burns, dude.
What I'm gonna end up having to do is I'm gonna have to shut down the lights in the shed. I'm gonna have to get different lights for like right here in front of me. They're like,
why don't we get flashlights and we'll tell ghost stories next episode?
No, listen, we'll talk ghost stories for fantasy championships. How about that? Who's in, who's out? Did you get ghosted by your league? Are you done? Or is it time to move on? Listen, we've got you guys covered here. We're going to talk NFL news and notes, a lot of NFL injuries that we're going to be dealing with here. So all the fantasy football stuff that you need, we're going to be here. Talking waiver wire for championship week. If you got some lineup stuff, hit that in the chat. We'll get you guys covered here 100%. Also, if you're watching on that Fantasy Alarm YouTube page, please hit that like and subscribe button. Before we dive into some of the fantasy football stuff here, first and foremost, Coop, well, how I got to hear a little bit of something about Lainey's first Christmas, your new baby girl. It's her first Christmas, right? We've obviously talked about how much more of that is for the mom than it is for the child. But dude, I saw a great picture that you posted of the fam. So tell me about the first Christmas.
That's right, man. We paraded all over the state because that's the thing about the family. You know, normal Christmases, it is what it is. But this year, everybody needed to have their time with little angel Lainey. She did spit up all over her elf suit yesterday very early, ruining a lot of potential pictures there. But she spent virtually the entire day with Auntie Coop. Had an awesome day. Yeah,
Auntie Coop's sitting in the chat. I want to say hi to her for sure. Oh,
she got this is from Auntie Coop. She got me this, and she also got me something for the show that is going to be come to good use today. A new set of glasses. We have the Twitch glasses. You know, we have the Miami Hangover glasses. Now we have the party glasses. And it's not just for championships. It's not just for championships, but it's also for a special occasion today. Mr. Howard Bender's birthday. Don't think that. Don't you think that Brian Burns and I would forget? Look at that, courtesy of Burns. Happy birthday, Howard Bender. How we doing, man? How's it treating you so far?
It's treating me just fine. It's sadly, Coop, it's treating me like any other day, right? 53 trips around the sun, and it's like I'm in this loop right now where it doesn't get any different. But listen, right. I'm getting a lot of calls, a lot of texts, a lot of nice messaging from everybody. So thank you all very, very much. Appreciate that. It
is funny in this industry that it's like the holidays for us are not the holidays that you guys have. Like yesterday, we were working. Today, we worked. You and me worked on Christmas Eve, right? The holidays for us is like that day before the MLB All-Star game when there's no sports.
There's no sports at all.
Exactly. It's like, like Easter, I guess, just like getting to relax just because, there's no sports going on. So, yeah, different holidays for us. But today, very special birthday. And look at the chat in here supporting the Bender on his birthday. We got Skinny McKinney with the happy birthday. Auntie Coop in the house. Preston, the gang showing up for you, Bender. So whether you want to celebrate or not, we're celebrating.
Listen, no, you know what, man? I feel very, very blessed. There are a lot of great people in my life, and I'm very, very thankful for it. I've said it before, right? Because I'm estranged from my family for, a variety of reasons that don't need to be, aired out here. But, I've gotten used to that after, 30 odd years. So my family is this family. Like that's, it's all you guys out there. That's why I do what I do. It's why I stay kind of dedicated on that. Although I'm not going to lie. I did sneak away from football yesterday, about halfway through the Giants game because I had to do the Jewish Christmas of Chinese food and go to the movies. So
of course, as is tradition.
yes.
What'd you see at the movies?
Went and saw Wonka.
Oh, well, how was it, dude?
It was really good. It was really good. The funny thing about it was that, it's very musical. There are a lot of songs throughout the entire thing. And my wife hates musicals.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's really funny. But she always picks these movies, right? A couple of years ago, we went and saw Les Mis, right? And I don't know. Have you seen Les Mis?
No, but I've heard. I know.
You know the story of Les Mis. Yeah. So where we are sitting there, and there's like gasps in the audience, and people are just listening and just absorbing the whole thing and loving on it. And there's this tragic moment where Eponine gets shot, right? And she's dying in this dude's arms, and she's singing this song, and it's beautiful. And I look over, and my wife looks at me, and she's like, "This is so boring."
Dude, I feel that, man.
Cracking up, right? And then she starts cracking up, like to the point where the two of us, like when you're sitting there with like your favorite cousin at Thanksgiving, and you guys can't stop laughing. Like that's right. Us in the movie theater, to the point where the woman turned to Deb next to her and offered her tissues because she thought she was sobbing.
Oh my God, that is so good, dude. That is exactly right. I will say, for me, like, and my wife is the same way. We really don't. I don't like the musicals. Like, we didn't like La La Land, but I do like when it's like an animated movie, like the kids' movies and stuff. When there are songs and stuff in that, I'll take those ones.
This is great for the kids. This is like a great modern era Willy Wonka. It had like a lot of the stuff and a lot of throwbacks to the original. So it was great, it was nice. But yeah, I mean, I'm sitting there and like as soon as the first song started, I turned and I looked at her and I was like, this is a full-on musical now, don't you?
Here we go.
She's like, how many songs were in the first one? I remember all the Oompa Loompa songs. I'm like, remember when everybody left the room during Cheer Up Charlie because nobody likes that song?
Yeah.
I was like, yes, the old one was a musical. The Candyman, I Got a Golden Ticket, all that stuff. I was like, what?
There are a lot of songs. The Candyman, the Golden Ticket, there are a lot of songs. You don't think of it that way, though.
Why did we not listen to Howard's Vote for Napoleon? Why did we?
3 hour A24 the Joaquin Phoenix biopic is definitely two sides of the equation there. I will say I'm glad the movie's good, because when I first saw the trailer, I was like, why? Who asked for this? Who watched Willy Wonka and said, you know what, this needs a prequel, right? Like that, the idea.
Well, you know what, though? I'll tell you what, though, in all honesty, and listen, again, yes, we will get to some fantasy football stuff. I promise you we will.
We're kind of messing the algorithm up right now, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, right. We are. That's why I keep mentioning fantasy
football. NFL, waivers. There you go. Twitch gang, don't abandon us. Waivers, tight ends, start sits.
But anyway, you know what? Yeah, and we'll move on for this. But I'll say this: I'm glad it was a prequel, because it doesn't, like, I was fine with that aspect of it because it wasn't going to make me compare it. Like, you saw Johnny Depp's and like you immediately compared it to the original, knowing that this was nothing like the original, or it wasn't supposed to be, was perfect. Like that made it nice and easy. All right. Well, with the holidays and the fun times and the giving spirit, have you been given the gift of fantasy football championships, Coop? Where are you at with your leagues?
Yeah, so I'm in a lot of leagues, as are you. So it'd be ridiculous if I didn't make a couple. So I did make a couple. I lost in a bunch, man. There was a couple of leagues that I really want to win that I lost. I lost my big hometown league this week. I lost in the Beantown Brawl with all the Boston analysts. I lost to Michael Reedy, who's now going to go on to face Spaceman Dave Wright. So couple tough ones there, but I'm going to the championship in my Bentley Bro-Out League with all my college buddies. I'm going to a league with all John and Pemba and I's hometown friends, the most difficult league I'm in. These guys are all sharks. They're always in the chat asking questions, and it's me versus John in that one. So that's a big one. And then I have some other dynasty.
Oh, you and John in the championship game? That's
head
fantastic.
To head. And we always get crushed, man, because like this is the first time either of us have even made the playoffs in this league. It is a sharp 14-team, ruthless keeper type league, like just crazy. And then the other ones I'm in is like a dynasty head-to-head best ball just a crazy format that I don't even want to talk about. So what about you, Howard? You make it in a couple?
Well, I, like you, got slapped around in a bunch of spots. I got, in the two, so I'm in 2 championship leagues.
Where did
right?
my tight ends go? I had so many 2 tight end set leagues.
Oh, dude,
and
Sam
just
Laporta just vanished. Hawkinson got hurt.
Trey McBride didn't show up. I had Sam Laporta and Trey McBride in the flex, and I was like, I'm a genius. And then, dude, some of those teams put up like 40 points this week. But anyway, sorry to interrupt.
Right. No. I mean, listen, it's the way it was, right? I mean, Did you, it was like you either had Amari Cooper or you faced Amari Cooper.
Sean has Amari Cooper, that scoundrel.
I mean, I went through it. I got destroyed by Colton and the Wolfman in the Sirius XM host league because they have both Breece Hall and Amari Cooper. But guess what? In the Military Appreciation League, I have both Breece Hall and Amari Cooper. And then I threw in Amari Cooper against Mark Brownstein in the Jam on Fantasy Football League. So the two leagues that I'm in the championship in, well, I don't know what happened with the pros with Joe's. I don't think they've like matched it up. I can't see what the guy was in my, because he wasn't in our division. You're in pros with Joe's, right?
This year I didn't do it because of right around the time that was going on, we had the baby. But next year I'm going to be back. Yeah.
Okay, so I still haven't seen what the other guy scored because he's in a different division and I can't see what his point total was.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they'll have to. I'm sure they'll announce it today.
Yeah. So we'll wait on that one. But Jam on Fantasy Football, that's one of the big leagues. That's this trophy over here, this big mother that we get on stage at the show of our choice during set break. So the winners, though, were the first time I've won it already. Obviously, there, Steve Gardner made the championship round. He beat Ari Fink from Fish Radio. I beat Mark Brownstein from the Disco Biscuits. And we, this is the first time that the two main fantasy analysts are actually in the championship together. So
it's funny how that happens, man. It's like, you know what? That's what I love about fantasy football. And same thing with poker, like sitting down with poker and friends, like over the long haul, the professionals probably will win more than they lose. But in any given week, in any given season, anyone can win. That's what makes fantasy football so much fun.
Yeah, absolutely. So 2 championships for me in leagues that I really like. In the Military Appreciation League, it's like a Sirius XM sponsored one. The winner of the league actually gets 2 tickets and some sort of like whole package to the game of their choice.
Oh wow!
So
that's it.
I guess I'll kind of figure something out. Maybe I'll take Bowden down to Dallas one day. And no,
that wouldn't be obnoxious at all. No, that would be great. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Let us know in the chat what's going on with you guys, if you guys won your leagues or not. Also want to shout out Skinny McKinney, and I'm going to post it today. He sent me some ginger snaps for me and the wife, man. Really appreciate that.
Oh, we got ginger snaps from Skinny as well.
Really nice gesture. Also, Jared Moore in the chat, he said, you know what? I got some cards because they're kind of getting me into the playing card. I mean the NFL cards. Yeah, he sent me some cards. Sent me a Teddy Bruschi, right? Which little things to him that go a long way for me. A Wade Boggs.
Where's the one that you texted me a picture of? Where's the good one?
This is the funny one right here. This is my favorite one he sent me. The Alante Taylor card. One of my real good buddy. Again, making us a lot of money with all his tackles and lack of batting down passes. He also sent me these, which I want to talk to him about because I want to see if I get back on the show. 92 Fleer baseball and a pack of 1990 Topps football, where I can feel the pack of gum in here. Howard, what do you think the gum in this pack of cards is like these days?
Oh, it's hysterical. Like but you know what though? Like suck on it for a little while, and then just
and then go to the hospital,
and then you'll chew it like 3 times, and then it'll turn to dust in your mouth. But it's like you get that original flavor, which is
you gotta eat the gum, dude. Yeah. So thank you guys. Fantasy Line members, best in the world, dude. And Ani Koopy got me obviously a trillion things. So shout out Ani Koopy. I can't see a damn thing in these party glasses, so we're gonna have to save them for very specific party occasions. They got the sparkles right in there, dude.
Oh, look at that. Did they move? Is it like
yeah. Yeah. Not only, I can't see anything, and they also hurt. They actually hurt to put on my face. So
I
thank
feel
you.
like if I had those on, I'd end up having a seizure of some sort.
It's pretty uncomfortable all around. Thank you, Honey Coop. These are great.
Oh man, fantastic. All right. Well, let's get down and dirty with what went down. Like, I mean, we could do, because you didn't have the fantasy fiasco yesterday on Christmas Day. We had a 3-game slate yesterday, some crazy stuff. Obviously, the Ravens beating the 49ers was a big one, because that was like a big Super Bowl preview. But yeah, man, we saw there's a ton of stuff that we saw. Obviously, slate breakers for everybody. Amari Cooper's day and Breece Hall's day. I mean, those guys were just, I mean, it was crazy. If you faced them, you probably lost your matchup. I'd be very surprised to see anybody like withstand that.
Oh no, I mean, Breece. Just think about Breece Hall's day, and we knew he was capable of it because he has had a few games with 5, 6 catches, 7, 8 targets, 12 receptions though. Not even just like on top of the 2 touchdowns. 12. When a running back catches 12 balls, you're in trouble, man. So, and then obviously Amari Cooper, record-setting across the board day, and when you have a guy like Amari Cooper have 200 something yards, obviously Joe Flacco is going to have a monster day. And there were leagues out there. Shout out John and Pemba, telling people to start Flacco over guys like Kyler Murray, who, had an okay day, but Flacco, man, big week. So Flacco, Nick Mullins. I survived. John told me to start Nick Mullins in a league that now I'm going to go up against him in the championship in. So kind of saved me.
Oh, look at that. A little collusion to get into the championship. Oh,
we had to show these guys who's boss. They've been talking a little too much smack, professional fantasy. You should have me on the show sometime, right? Classic trash talk. Yeah. So, shout out to the crew, dude. Well, one of Fantasy Alarm's taking it home one way or the other, which I appreciate that. And of course, John, the moment the lineup was settled, Howard, John, the text comes in, how we chopping this pot. So the pot, the pot has already been chopped with our dues for next year, staying with the treasurer, the most conservative fantasy gamer of all time, John and Pemba, shout out, has already negotiated the chop. It is Tuesday.
It is so funny. Like, he doesn't even it's just, listen, I get it. Right. I don't know what I don't know how much this pot is, but
it's a friendly league. It's a friendly league. And what matters most is winning. And I will say this, just to everybody out there, and I'm going to tweet this out later as well. If someone reaches out to you to chop a pot, this is my personal philosophy on it, so you don't have to follow this. But if somebody reaches out to me that wants to chop a pot, I almost always say yes. Almost always, and I try to keep maybe a little something extra that goes to the winner. But the thing is, you don't know what situation they're in financially. Like, you don't know what 300, 400, 500 bucks could mean to some of these people, especially after Christmas, right? Friends of yours aren't going to tell you. They're not going to show you their bank statement or anything like that. Like, I know John's doing well, and I know who he is. So, of course, we're going to chop the pot. But with a lot of people out there, you don't know, right? And for you, if you're in a situation where you have to win to get that money, then maybe you shouldn't be putting that much money on fantasy in the first place. So for you, if people ask you to chop, I would just do your best to accommodate them. That's my feeling on it, Howard. I don't know if you feel the same.
I'm very much of that like mind as well. You don't know what anybody else is dealing with or going through, right? I might not be the first person to chop. Like, for my survivor pool, I was the one back in week 14 had the Packers beaten the Giants. I had the email already ready, in my drafts to send to the commish to be like, yo, ask this dude if he wants to chop the pot. That's just, because that was, at that point, 12 grand would have been,
right.
Like, winning the 25 was phenomenal.
Great.
Right. But
Awesome.
The 12 and a half would have been phenomenal too. And now I wasn't going to, I didn't want to risk that in any way, shape or form.
I still cannot believe the people that didn't chop that circle pool,
dude, there was that one dude, and I don't even know if that dude's still in it or not.
I hope he's not. That guy is
I hope he's not either.
Maniac for not chopping that. Especially because of the way they set it up. For those unaware, we talked about this in the show before, $9 million pool. And how many? There was only like 7 people left or something like that. Not very many people left, but they were able to set it up where each person was going to walk away with like $400,000, and the winner would still get like 5 or 6 million. It was the perfect compromise of everyone gets life-changing money and the winner gets absurd money. And one person was like, nah, I don't want to do that. Crazy.
Jared Moore in the comments right there is a story over the weekend of a high-stakes poker player who refused to chop and got KO'd. That is the circa million there. So he did get knocked out, which is great because I knew it was a high-stakes poker
Oh,
guy
so it was that guy. Okay.
who said no. So that, you know what? That's karma right there.
I figured it was
crap.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I'm sure he's like, oh, damn. But
he's an odds guy. Those guys there's something up here with those guys that lets them just robotically move on to the next one. You know what I mean? Like if you play high stakes poker, you have to have that mentality. But I will say, I knew it was going to be either one of those like methodical gamblers or was going to be a guy that is just crazy rich. And, he looks at, $400,000 the way we look at $40, which, there are people like that out there.
There are people exactly like that. So, well, either way, I'm still glad that he got knocked out.
Me too.
Preston Farrell in the chat. Thanks for your help on Jackson versus Purdy. He's in the ship now. Congratulations, Preston.
Awesome.
Andy Coopy says, happy birthday, handsome.
Hello, whoa, look out. Look out, Dad.
Right?
I'm putting these on so I can't see any of the comments that refer to.
Well, now I'm totally smitten. Hey, listen, you know what? My wife could get hit by a bus tomorrow. I don't know. It's just, this is good to, appraise my value.
You know what? Then you're part of the Cooper Christmas. And I'll tell you, Auntie Coop, she lays the presents on thick. Nobody does Christmas better than Auntie Coop. I will tell you this, Howard, though. She does it a very specific way. Her and I went to the local outlet mall. I picked out these hiking boots. Very nice boots, that, she got them for me. She goes up, pays for them. And I'm standing there with my arms out like this. This is in November. And she takes them under her arm and she's like, all right, see ya. And I'm like, what? And she's like, no, you have to get those on Christmas. This is a Christmas present. I'm like, what if I roll my ankle hiking? And she goes, that's going to be very sad. So yeah, I had to wait. I'm a grown man. I had to wait a month and a half for my hiking boots, which I did unwrap. I have a beard. I waited a month and a half, it was much more special because they were on Christmas. So thank you, Auntie Coop. I love my hiking boots. I've been wearing them around the house because it's too wet outside.
Oh, she's also cheering for me to get lucky tonight. So thank you again, Auntie Coop.
Great team. Hey, it's a special day. It's a special day.
Yeah.
Throwing a nice musical.
I will. I'm getting so embarrassed because that's how I finished my night last night. Whoa!
Look out!
Tommy Tremble outscored Travis Kelce in my league fantasy randomness. Jared Moore. Yeah, that was again. This crazy stuff. Oh, this is Clyde. I listen to your show all the time. And first this year, 8 teams. So strong team here. I'm in the championship. Look at that. Start sit right here off the bat. Yeah. McBride or Njoku. You got Njoku on Thursday night, short week against the Jets. I don't even know who Arizona's playing this week. Who is Arizona playing?
Eagles. So it's a good matchup for McBride. We think it would be. Yeah. So I don't know. And Njoku, the thing with the Jets is that you can't just look at the raw scoring against them because it makes them look like they're not that good against the tight end or it makes them look like the middle of the pack. But go and look at who scored the points. 86-yard touchdown for Pharaoh Brown. Random Luke Schoonmaker touchdown. Noah Gray touchdown. Against the primary tight ends, they've been pretty good. So I think I'm actually going to stick with McBride, despite how hot Njoku's been. I don't think there's a bad start in there, right? I think they're both good options, but I think I'm going to go McBride, Howard.
Yeah, I'm going to lean McBride as well. Although, Jets did give up that touchdown and some yardage to Logan Thomas this past week.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I mean, I'm going to hammer I'm going to hit all the numbers. I'm going to hit all the numbers. We're going to get the update on Thursday. And the crazy thing is for me, I had people that were like, oh, you're going to rank Travis Kelce at 1 after he's been playing poorly. And then they circled back and were like, Travis Kelce stinks. Like, I can't, you were wrong. And I was saying, you know what? Who should have been ranked at 1, right? Because the people that people wanted ranked at 1, Trey McBride. Well, Travis Kelce outscored Trey McBride. He outscored Sam Laporta. McBride and Hawkinson, depending what format you were in, scored virtually the same number of points. So how far down was I supposed to pull somebody up and put ahead of Travis Kelce? That's why it's not easy to do this. It's easy to sit back and say, you were wrong about this one thing, right? That, Kelce shouldn't have been ranked 1, but where are your rankings? You know what I mean? So enough of that.
I'm with you. Listen, hindsight, it's 2020. Anybody can sit there and come back. Again, I've talked about this on air before. People who come back at fantasy analysts, listen, you come to us, we give you our best, assessment of it. We're clearly more right than we are wrong, but we're not perfect. If we were perfect, let me ask you guys a question. If we were perfect, would we even be doing this show on YouTube, or would we be like laughing at the world from our yachts in the south of France?
Right? I don't think there's a lot of fantasy football yachts out there in general, Howard. You know what I mean? It's a difficult game, so I don't know. And the crazy part is I see these people, my followers, saying it to me, saying rank McBride ahead of Kelsey. I'm like, why the heck how do you have why do you have Trey McBride on your team in the first place? Because I was the one that told you to pick him up. You know what I mean? Cut me a little slack here, right?
Do you know how many idiots came at me because Cortland Sutton put up a 0? I'm like, the dude got concussed. He carried you as the wide receiver, the ultimate wide receiver 3, right? You forget about your wide receiver 1, your wide receiver 2. That's on you, people. I gave you the wide receiver 3, and then the dude got concussed on in the first quarter. And he puts up a 0, which cost me a ton of spots in my playoffs, right? I would have beaten Tara Victoria, Tara Roberts. I lost to her in the SiriusXM Independence Day Invitational. I was 13-1 in the regular season. My team was just beast-like, and I got a 0 from Sutton, and that kind of costs you. I mean, listen, this shit happens, people.
Yeah, well, it hurts worse because the things I tell people to do are the things that I'm doing. So when they go wrong, I lose, and then people have to come and remind me that I lose.
I'm built the exact same way. If I gave you a play that lost, chances are I lost because of it as well. All right, so we gave the breakdown on Njoku, right? But now it's Laporta or Njoku. McBride versus Njoku. Now it's Sammy Laporta against the Dallas Cowboys. That's a Saturday game. Laporta has actually been held in check, 2 out of the last 3 games. He had that 3-touchdown game in the middle of it.
Yeah, the scary thing for Laporta is that, and this wasn't really the case early on. In some games it was, but the way we look at Laporta from 10,000 yards up is not really what he actually is. We look at him and think that he's like Mark Andrews or Travis Kelce, where he's playing a ton of slot because of the type of guy that we envision him being, but he actually doesn't. He plays like true inline tight end. And in a couple of his games, they've been asking him to stay in and block. He blocked on 8 pass plays this week. 8. So if you're blocking on 8 pass plays, right, and the team only in most games throws 30 or 40 times, that means you're only running at most 2/3 of the routes, right? So this week, there were 11 routes that he didn't run. So that's going to hurt his upside. That's why Laporta for me has kind of slowly gone to the point where I'm ranking McBride ahead. I'm ranking Hawkeye ahead. I mean, you're still starting him in most spots, but for me, I'll probably start Njoku over him because it's scary to have this guy that is just being used to stay in and block and going up against the Cowboys who get after the quarterback.
Yeah, I mean the pass rush there, the defensive line, we've seen it. You don't want to take away that extra blocker.
Right. So it does worry me. And, that with the Vikings, we said, 2 high safeties, a lot of blitzing. It's not a great spot for Laporta. So he was in my fades article in the tight end DFS. My own son, Howard. I put him in the fade.
My own son.
I mean, sometimes you got to put the kids on timeout. You know what I
mean? I picture you as like when Don Corleone is told about Sonny and he's like, look at the mess they made of my boy.
Look at this stats. Look how they massacred my boy. I'm looking at him blocking on dash plays. That is like the way it is, though. I mean, and again, a DFS fade is a lot. You have to explain that, a DFS fade versus a redraft fade. It's not like I was telling people not to start him in redraft, but I'm saying don't pay up for this cat in this situation. This week, all 3 of them are in decent spots. I'm gonna, as always, on Thursday. The rankings will be up today, and then I'll fine tune them for Thursday. So keep an eye on that. But as of right now, I do lean Njoku. He's just been so locked in. Howard, over the last, and I have to check it I was checking it yesterday before the games. Over the last 3 weeks, the number 1 player in fantasy football, the number 1 flex player, the number 1 wide receiver or tight end has been Amari Cooper, and number 2 has been David Njoku. Like, he has 4 touchdowns last 3 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, listen, when you get that kind of crazy volume, the only sad part about that now is that now you got Sauce Gardner and DJ Reed and Michael Carter II. You've got a great secondary for the Jets going up against Amari Cooper and David Njoku now. So, it comes a little bit more of a daunting task.
Right. I tweeted it earlier, the unstoppable chucking force of Joe Flacco against the immovable object that is Sauce Gardner and DJ Reed and Michael Carter. Yeah, we'll see. We're going to see.
We're going to see. Indeed. Listen, more tight end stuff here. You ready? I mean, now we got to talk about Kincaid going up against the Patriots this week. Preston Farrell says Goddard, Waller, Okonkwo, Pitts, Freiermuth, all available.
Okay.
So now the question is which one does he pick up? Assuming that, I don't know. How the Patriots, against the tight end?
Very good. They've been they had a couple touchdowns early in the year skewing the stats. And, I think Durham Smythe scored one, but you saw what happened with Kelsey, right? Pretty much shut out this week. The Broncos don't really use a tight end, but I do worry about that. Kincaid's not going to be super high in my rankings just because his usage wasn't good either. I need to see some full practices from him. I think he's still banged up. I'm actually Pitts recently 90% of the routes run, caught a touchdown this week. He's not a bad option if he's out there. Freiermuth, I'm not going to go with. Not with Mason Rudolph. He was not a part of the game plan this week.
I've got the one that it's really the question.
Go ahead.
And that's Darren Waller.
Right.
Because he's going up against the Rams, who are one of the worst teams against the tight end. Now he's going up against the Eagles here. He saw 5 targets. He only caught 2 passes, 32 yards. He had that bad drop in the beginning of that game also, which was a little on the disappointing side. That, for me, is the best matchup. But the question is, can we trust it?
Yeah, so he went from and I warned people that this could happen, is that he went from 40% of the snaps the first game, and we think, oh, well, he's healthy now, so he'll just play 90%. He went from 40% to 60%. So you're betting that we're going 40, 60, 80, and he's going to play the full snaps this game, get the full target share. I'm personally willing to make that bet, but it depends how risk-averse you are. But I think if you're a risk-averse person, you start Dallas Goedert. If you're willing to lay it out there and go for the upside, it's Waller.
Okay. Excellent answer.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Thumbing through the rest. I see Toronto Dave's in the house. What is up?
What up, TV?
Wiffle ball boys. Should I pick up Aaron Jones off waivers tonight? Would be for my flex spot if Jacobs or Keenan Allen aren't healthy. Absolutely.
Yeah. I love.
Absolutely.
Toronto,
how's Aaron Jones sitting on the waiver wire?
Toronto Dave said timeout after he said Aaron Jones on the wire. But in wiffle ball, in Clyde's defense, he already said it was an 8-team league.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
All 10-year-olds 8-team league. So
damn, yeah, definitely pick him up. Going up against Minnesota on Sunday Night Football in Minnesota, so you don't even have to deal with the weather.
Yeah, and he says there's a lot of guys out there on the wire: Godwin, Chuba, Ramondre, Jaden Reed. Yeah, I probably wouldn't pick up Ramondre and try and go that route, but Chuba's been solid too. So let us know who you're dropping, Wiffle Ball Boy, because that's just as important as what's going on here. Because if those guys are on the wire, I wouldn't want to see you drop somebody that helps your opponent. So let us know who you don't want to drop
somebody that's better than what's sitting out there on the wire
for sure. Yeah.
Toronto Dave's been carried by that Flacco Njoku stack. Yeah, we love that.
Yes. Howard, I want to ask you. So Damar Hamlin still, reporters, they always root for the story, right? So the chance that Damar Hamlin could still win the comeback player of the year. But I start looking around at the other options, and I'm wondering if Flacco, is he in the conversation? Guys like Flacco, Baker Mayfield, that, after Geno Smith won it, the category is not just people who were hurt last year, clearly. So what do you think? Is it possible?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to the odds right now.
Yeah. Let's see what they are.
Look at some futures and see if I can find it.
I checked it last week, and Hamlin was still the favorite. So I don't know, but I was looking at a few of them, and I looked at Flacco. He was on there. He was towards the middle when I looked, and I started thinking to myself, man, they're still in the running for the division. He hasn't played and didn't play at all played 2 games last year, whatever.
All right, so here you go. So Damar Hamlin at minus 450. It should not be Damar Hamlin.
I don't think it should be either.
The dude played 1 game already, or made 2 appearances on special teams.
It's because it's journalists, man.
I
It's
know
journalists.
why. I know why. It's just come on,
I know.
man.
I know. I know.
Joe Flacco, next best odds at plus 400.
Ooh, so that's high. He's moving up. Damn, I should have put money on him last week.
Baker plus 1,000.
Baker, I came to mind. He could win the division. The Browns are 10-5. Man, like they're going to go to the playoffs.
Tua at plus 1,200.
Lame.
Russell Wilson plus 5,000. Lamar Jackson plus 5,000. Brees Hall plus 15,000.
Lamar Jackson.
TJ Watt, Kyler Murray. That's where we're at.
Wow. I mean, honestly, if I had a vote, I'm thinking I'm watching Flacco and Baker here.
And Baker. I'd actually probably go to Baker before I'd go to Flacco just because of,
right. Like Lamar's a good
he's
pick.
done it all year. Flacco's done it for the last, 5 games.
In terms of comeback player, I don't think Lamar's his story went low enough. That's the problem with him is that, Baker was, Baker and Flacco were out of the league. Kind of like to a certain degree, not starting quarterbacks. So I don't know if Lamar and Tua, I don't know if their stories dipped enough to deserve the award. So yeah, I'm feeling it. What do you guys think in the chat?
Jared Moore thinks that Daniel Bellinger is better than Darren Waller.
Get out of here, dude. Come on.
A lot of Flacco love here. I would drop Kyler, my backup QB. That's who Wiffle Ball is dropping.
Yeah, if you're not going to start him, and I can guarantee the other person in your league probably has a better quarterback than Kyler if it's an 8-team league. So yeah, you could safely do that. I would do that.
Daggers wants to know thoughts on defense. I've got the Bears, but thinking about grabbing the Ravens or the Raiders. The Raiders defense, dude.
I know, dude. Who would have guessed, dude? Who would have guessed? Max Crosby is just a force. He is an animal. What did you think about the Jack Jones there fake giving the ball to that kid? Did you see that?
I did see that. Whatever. I mean,
it's the thing for some reason because it's the Raiders. Because it's the Raiders, it's actually if any other team does that, then nah. But because it's the Raiders, I think it's actually okay.
Pretty on brand.
Raiders, Chiefs. I mean, come on, that is funny. I hope that I'm sure the Chiefs, staff went and gave that kid something.
Yeah, probably. All right. Well, which defense do we like here? I'm pulling up the.
Yeah, it's Bears. Bears got the Falcons, and the Bears have been good lately.
Bears have definitely been good lately.
Yeah, Ravens have. I know likely is a good match. Ravens have Dolphins, so I don't know if I love that.
Ravens, Dolphins, you don't want that.
Yeah.
Seahawks, Texans, Packers available. I think I would probably just stick with the Bears.
I would stick with the Bears. That's what I'm doing. Yeah.
Seattle's intriguing if you think Mason Rudolph's going to pee down his leg this time around, but I think I would just stay with the Bears.
Yeah, stick with the Bears because the Seahawks, they don't really get after the quarterback.
All right, before we get back to the chat, we will. There's a couple of things that we wanted to be able to do. Number one is I want to talk about and shout out to our sponsors over at Underdog Fantasy, and then we got to just give some waiver wire stuff too. So here we go. Underdog Fantasy. The QR code's right here, guys. Or you can just go to fantasyalarm.com/underdog. Use that promo code ALARM. They'll give you an instant deposit match up to $100. They don't have their featured player in there yet, but as soon as they do, we're ready to jump on it with the picks that we've got here. Looking ahead here at NFL Week 17, Coop, for you, Underdog Fantasy, whose stat line you looking at?
Yeah. So as we know, we do like to. It's more fun to go higher, but it's mathematically you get more outs going lower. Not only if the player playing poorly, but you can have injuries, things like that. So I'm going to go with a lower this week. I'm looking at James Cook, 65.5 rushing yards. He's been very good. But the Patriots defense has quietly been even better. They've been the number one team in DVOA against the run. So they've been middle of pack of letting up receptions. James Cook, last time they faced him, had a few receptions, but he didn't crack 65.5 yards. Javonte Williams this week scored a touchdown, sure, but he had 11 carries for 24 yards. The Patriots are doing very well against the run specifically. So for fantasy football, go ahead and start James Cook because he's probably going to catch a few balls. He's probably going to do just fine, but I don't know if he's going to run for 65.5 yards. I don't think he's going to. So I'm going to go with the lower on that one, Burns.
Yeah, I can't go against that pick there. We talked about that. I told people I was a little nervous when Javonte Williams scored that touchdown early. I was like, like because I was telling people to not start him at all this
Me
week.
too.
I was against it. So it did the yardage actually ended up paying off, and that was that early turnover on that touchdown. For me, I'm looking at Thursday night action here. Jets going up against the Browns. And I'm going to look at CJ Mosley. I'm going to give a tackle monster prop here right now, Coop.
All
And
right.
I'm going to go with CJ Mosley, 7.5 tackles plus assists. And I'm going to go higher on this one here. We know that. Thank you. We know that the Jets have fantastic cover corners in Sauce Gardner and DJ Reed. Those guys are going to take care of the outside. It's going to kind of funnel everything in more towards the middle, not to mention the fact that the Jets are struggling against the run. So you've got Jerome Ford and Kareem Hunt. So I see a lot of running from Cleveland here. I'm not saying that Flacco's not going to, do his, usual try to chuck it, but I think he's going to be more over the middle kind of, short stuff to Elijah Moore, shorter stuff to David Njoku, area where CJ Mosley is going to be very, very active. So I say higher than 7.5 tackles plus assists. Boom! There you go.
Mosley has kind of taken over a bunch of games this year, right? Like in like half the games, he has double-digit combined tackles. So yeah, that number seems kind of suspect. 7.5. I'm sure you're going to move the needle on that one. So yeah, get those in now. Get them locked up.
Yeah, I'm sure it will end up moving the needle. But again, guys, Underdog Fantasy is where you want to be. Hit that QR code or just go to fantasyalarm.com/underdog. Use that promo code ALARM. Get an instant deposit match on your first deposit up to $100. All right, before we get back to the chat, Coop, it's always, listen, there are people who are playing for their championships right now, might have some waiver wire moves. We've got a number of injuries that we're obviously looking at. And you guys should definitely check out the injury report over at fantasyalarm.com. But listen, Purdy's banged up. We don't know what's going to happen with Trevor Lawrence's shoulder. Is CJ Stroud going to come back? Will Levis is dealing with an ankle. So there's lots of stuff. Isaiah Pacheco with a concussion, Josh Jacobs' knee, Ramondre Stevenson's ankle. There's so many injuries that you got to end up working through. So it always pays off to just take a look at the waiver wire and just see what's out there right now. Britt Flynn has the waiver wire article over at fantasyalarm.com right now. You can go and check that out. It is 100% free, just like this content here that we're giving you, 100% free. So hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Oh yeah, are we still doing this holiday sale? I thought that
last day
today's
today.
The last day. Today is the last day, people, for this holiday sale. Fantasyalarm.com/Santa. Promo code Santa gives you your first month for $4. Right. $1 a week for the next 4 weeks. And that gets
last
you
day today. Yeah.
So
and that the whole gets you through what I believe, because I've been listening to you and Jim talking about it. I think you guys are trying to get the initial copy of the baseball draft guide out in January, right? So you get that now, and you're getting a draft guide as part of it. So you're going to get all the DFS stuff for every sport, but as part of that, you're also going to get a draft guide that is going to be more than $4 when it comes out. So it's kind of free real estate right there. And again, it's Christmas. So that's kind of why we do that. So last day today, $4 for the next month, promo code Santa.
Give yourself the gift of winning. In the meantime, Coop, the waiver wire article still free of charge. Britt Flynn does the work. I'm going to throw down a couple of names here. You tell me who you like. Just pulling directly off of our article here. Quarterbacks, Flacco, but he's got the Jets. Derek Carr, who had a great, fourth quarter last week, going up against Tampa Bay, a defensively challenged team. Who do you prefer?
Yeah, so I've already had people asking me about Sam Darnold, and my thought process on that is this. If you were locked into Brock Purdy, maybe you add Sam Darnold and say to yourself, you know what? I'll start whoever the starting quarterback is for the 49ers. I think that's fine. But if you need somebody for this week, for sure, and you lost your quarterback or you don't trust your quarterback, the guy I'm going with is Derek Carr. I know Flacco's been throwing it like crazy, but this Jets team is a different beast. You look at what Vegas is saying, the over-under set at like 35 points, which is not what you would expect for a Flacco game. I don't really want to go there. Derek Carr has been very solid, right? Last 2 games, back-to-back games, 3 touchdown games. Game before that, he threw 2. And Chris Olave looks good. Rashid Shaheed looks good. Why not go there with him against Tampa Bay? This one has the shootout potential. I like Derek Carr. That's where I'm going. Got to play. I'm playing it safe. I'm going Carr, and I think he throws a couple touchdowns this week.
Yeah, I'm definitely with you on that one there. At the running back position, your top waiver wire running backs, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Now that we've got a concussed Isaiah Pacheco, I don't know how that dude's helmet didn't stay on. That was ridiculous there. But here we go. Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He's got the Bengals, who have one of the worst run defenses. Tyler Algier getting some smoke here against the Bears. Chase Brown possibly coming back against Kansas City, and Chris Rodriguez, who actually did suffer. I believe he had like a foot issue or something that he left the game with for a bit here this past week against the Jets. But he's got the Niners. It's a tough matchup.
Yeah, that's what scares me with Rodriguez. Otherwise, I'd have him higher because he's the starting running back for that team, right? So and he's getting more carries. Also, we don't know if Brian Robinson could be back, so I don't know. I'm steering away from him. Tyler Algier has more carries than over the last 2 weeks than Bijan. So, I mean, he's viable in deeper leagues. Chase Brown, of course, explosive playmaker, great for dynasty, but I don't know. I don't trust his snap count. The guy I'm going for is Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And the reason is the vast majority, they've no doubt in my mind, they've done something to tweak the concussion protocol compared to last year. I think they saw guys like Tua getting concussions, coming back, leaving. How many times have you ever seen a Michael Pittman situation, Howard, where he cleared protocol and then he, they keep testing you and then he ends up back in it? And the vast majority of players this year, when they leave a game with a concussion, you're not playing the next game. So I would not be surprised to see Clyde Edwards-Helaire not play. And we just watched Jerick McKinnon go on IR. So
you mean Isaiah Pacheco?
Isaiah Pacheco not play. Sorry about that. Pacheco not play. And we saw McKinnon go on IR. So CEH might be the only show in town. And he showed a little bit of pop yesterday. So I think if you have a spot open, that's the guy you got to go out and get.
Yeah, I agree with that one for sure. At the wide receiver position, your top wide receiver potential waiver wire pickups here. KJ Osborne going up against Green Bay. If Jordan Addison is out, he left the game with an ankle injury. Rashid Shaheed against these Buccaneers. We know he's got that deep play threat. Demarcus Robinson going up against the Giants. This one here, I left him on the bench this past week because Tutu Atwell was back and cleared concussion protocol, and Robinson became the guy. So he's now in there. DJ Chark, how freaking funny is DJ Chark after what you and I said about him last week? That this dude comes down with 2 touchdowns. And then, of course, Brandon Johnson for the Broncos now that Cortland Sutton is on that concussed list.
Right. Yeah. And Brandon Johnson, the thing is, we don't know for sure who's going to get, if anyone's going to get a full snap share with Brandon Johnson, Lil Jordan Humphrey, but that's how they're going to fill that role with the big boys. But I worry about that. Same with DJ Chark, where some games he plays the whole game, some games he doesn't. I don't trust him. Demarcus Robinson, deeper leagues, of course. And I love what Britt does is that, Fantasy Alarm members, they're sharp gamers for the most part. So in this article, she goes and she only looks at folks in less than 50% of leagues, right? So they're all available. We have too many people saying like, oh, that guy's not going to be out there. First thing I'm doing is go and make sure Romeo Doubs isn't on the wire. He's not in the article, but I know he's only rostered in like 60% of some leagues. First check on him. If he's not there, it's got to be KJ Osborne. At this stage, going up against what is likely another powerhouse team in your league, you want to have guys that are playing the whole game. And KJ Osborne, with Hawkinson banged up, with Addison banged up now, he's going to be lining opposite JJ with Green Bay. If Jair Alexander plays and goes up against JJ, Osborne could end up with a lot of targets. So I think Osborne's the guy that you're going to want to go for. He gives you the best shot at upside. After that, Rashid Shaheed, if you're going out, you're adding Derek Carr, like I said, add Shaheed too, and just lock it in. Go after it. He's gotten 20% target share in 3 straight games since Michael Thomas left. So,
all right. And then finally, top waiver wire tight ends. We're looking at Tucker Kraft against the Vikings, Gerald Everett in play here against the Denver Broncos. And then how about Chiggy Okonkwo? Found his way into the end zone this past week, a la Derrick Henry passing touchdown. But going up against Houston.
Yeah, so Britt had Kraft and Everett in the article. I'm going to hit her up and say, you know what, sneak Chig in there. I think he's a good option. Tucker Kraft in most sharp leagues is already added. If he hasn't been added, then you got to add him because they've got guys banged up. It's a mess over there, right? Malik Heath running around. So Kraft needs to be your priority. Everett, He did well in the matchup against the Broncos last time. He should be fine. The thing is, this isn't a full-time player. So I tend to not trust him. I'd rather use him in DFS. The guy that I like, the sneaky one, Chig Okonkwo, his usage has steadily increased both in playing time and routes going back to week 10 or 11, where we looked at it and I was like, man, you can't trust this guy at all. They tried out Josh Wiley a bit, the rookie. Since then, Okonkwo has pulled this job back, and he's got Ryan Tannehill potentially at quarterback again, who looked to him a bunch this week. And the Texans are a bottom 5 team against the tight end. I think in just overall points scored by tight ends, I think they're like letting up the 4th most. So Chig Okonkwo, man, he's back on the menu. Disappointing season so far, but this guy, when he's getting the usage, he has a decent floor, and he runs a 4.52, the same 40 time as George Kittle. So he's capable of breaking off big plays. He broke off 3 plays last year, 40+ yards, which led the league, and he has yet to do it this year. This could be the week where he breaks off the big one, Howard.
Fantastic. All right. Well, there you go, guys. A little waiver wire action here for week 17 championship week. If you've got holes in your roster now due to injuries and you got one game to go, we got the players for you. Go check it all out over at fantasyalarm.com. Hit back to the chat here, Coop, as we wrap up today's show. And first and foremost, thank you, everybody, for staying tuned in here with us. We always appreciate that. Keep hitting that like button. Keep hitting it. Better Boss. Oh, feel his pain. Lost 49-43 because he's like the only guy who plays in a standard league anymore. With zeros in his lineup from Cortland Sutton, Noah Fant, Will Lutz, plus Jalen Warren and DJ Moore laid eggs. Just needed a second TD pass from Mahomes. This is a tough week, man. This is a tough week.
Especially because it's especially rough because I'd rather lose 150-43 than lose 49-43, because at certain points during the weekend, Better Boss was looking across the aisle at the other team and how they weren't doing anything either. And he was like, yeah, we got this in the bag. Of course.
How in the world were the 49ers sitting down inside at the 5 that they handed the ball to McCaffrey once and then ended up like losing 6 yards, 7 yards more on top of that? Had he scored that touchdown, I would have beaten Tara Roberts in the Independence Day Invitational. And I think I would have won the Shakedown Fantasy Football League, gone to the championship there, which Drew Davenport edged me out on that one.
In one of my lineups, Howard, it was straight up head to head. I think I was losing by 1 point. It was my Jake Moody against his Brock Purdy. Oops. I was like, I had already chalked that up as a loss, right? And then every quarter as we went through, I sat there and I was like, well, I want to get our hopes up, but what if, right? And then all of a sudden the game was over.
Oh man, I got Purdy in a couple of spots too. It was not pleasant. Robert Flores says, before the fantasy football season comes to an end, I want to thank you guys and the rest of the Alarm family for your top tier analysis and insights. Fantasy Alarm is the 1-1 and second to none. Thank you very much, Rob. We appreciate that very much, man.
Yeah, it doesn't stop here because I end up going and doing all the dynasty stuff. Like, I stay in football land, but we shift over, and Howard and Jim are going to be crushing baseball. John and Grande kill it with basketball. We've got the best UFC guy in the industry right now. We have the 3 out of 4 year FSWA hockey writer of the year. So it doesn't stop with football. If you want to stick with football with me, I'm getting into the dynasty stuff, getting into the combine, free agency, the draft. So I'll be sticking with football, but it keeps rocking at Fantasy Alarm. It never stops. So thank you guys for tuning in, and get ready.
Absolutely. George Cook throwing down a question here. Assuming both Pacheco and Josh Jacobs miss, would you prioritize CEH or Zamir White for waivers?
Well, assuming that Jacobs misses, I think I'm going to stick with Zamir White. I mean, going up against the Colts, you got Zamir White against the Colts.
That's a great matchup.
Oh, but the Chiefs get the Bengals, Howard. So maybe. Maybe. I think
all right, CEH gets that priority here.
CEH, yeah. Yeah, it's tough because we don't know for sure, but I mean the players have not been clearing protocol this year.
I'll say this though here, because I think you need to. I think you need to go after both players, right? Yeah. So I think CEH with a concussed Isaiah Pacheco is probably the play that I want to look to more than Zamir White, because Jacobs was back at practice last week, and now he's going to have this extra time, dealing with the knee issue. So, and I think the way that Antonio Pierce has these Raiders all fired up, I think he's going to want to try and get on there. So I would definitely prioritize CEH, but listen, who's going to be in your starting lineup for next week for championship week. So, I wouldn't drop a top player there, but who's not cracking your starting lineup. So you might as well just.
And the gamesmanship at this stage of the game can get so specific. Take a look across the aisle too. See what your other guy's working with. Because if he's loaded at wide receiver and he needs running back too, try and add them both if you have the fab. And drop a wide receiver that your opponent's not going to use. The gamesmanship, when it's a one-on-one battle, I'm looking to add defense. I don't care if I have the best defense in the league. I'm looking to add their defenses. I'm looking to do whatever I can to stop them from fielding the best team against me.
Yeah, I am in on that. So, yeah, listen, make that move. Drop the dead weight. Toronto Dave wants to know, has anybody seen Max Crosby and Coop in the same room? Do these guys look alike? Let me see. Let me have a look-see.
His beard's a little redder than mine. That's the first time I've gotten a Max Crosby.
Wait, stop smiling. Stop smiling. Give me a scowl. No.
He looks more like Alan Tudyk, the pirate in Dodgeball.
Like a roided out version.
Yeah.
100%.
I've never gotten Max Crosby before. I've gotten Carson Wentz before.
Yeah, the Wentz one's definitely. I've seen that one before.
I see that one. I'm like, all right, you got me.
All right. Jeremy Huffstedler says he made the finals thanks to us. Thank you. Appreciate you shouting us out there. And it also doesn't help Pacheco's case that his game was on Monday, one day less to recover 100%.
Great point
on that
Jared.
Point there as well. Yeah.
There's no Monday game this week.
There's no Monday game this week. There's a
national championship. Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
The college football has that Monday. Interesting.
So, all right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, listen, we're going to have all of our usual content rolling out on Fantasy Alarm. Coop and I will be here today and tomorrow and on Thursday as well, answering all the questions. Lightning round's going to be on Thursday this week instead of getting buzzed. I am on hiatus from getting buzzed this week. And then let's see what else.
Birthday week. Everyone say happy birthday, Howard Bender, one more time in the chat, one more time on the timeline. Be as annoying as possible on the timeline all day today for Howard's birthday. Absolutely. Right. So shout out to our Howard Bender. Shout out to the boss. Happy birthday.
Thank you very much. And on that note, we're getting out of here right now. So a big thank you to Brian Burns. For Andrew Cooper, I'm Howard Bender. This has been Alarm Fantasy Football. We'll catch you next time.
Those turd nuggets.